Hey guys, how's it going? Good to be here for this week's little Oxen Labs update. So on the session side, yesterday we pushed out Emoji Reacts on all platforms. So that's slowly rolling out to Android and iOS, and then the desktop update's already out there. Looking like it's going really well so far, and being really well received, and there hasn't been too many bugs. We're just putting out a new version of Android today, which fixes a few things, a few little regressions we had, but nothing major. So make sure you get the Emoji Reacts release if it's available to you, and start reacting to your friends' messages. And that works. Emoji Reacts is working in open groups, closed groups, and one-to-ones. So it's looking really good. On the ID blinding side, we're still waiting for a few more people or a larger percentage of people to upgrade before we enable Emoji Reacts on our official open groups. So I think we were sitting up at around 60 or 70% of the Play Store people had upgraded at this point. So we're waiting for it to tick just a little bit higher, because once we enable ID blinding on open groups, it will break open groups for people who haven't upgraded yet. So if you're one of those clients who hasn't upgraded to a recent release, if you upgrade to the Emoji Reacts release, that also includes support for ID blinding too. So that's about what we're doing on session. We're also working on theming and stuff for upcoming releases, theming and menu redesign, which kind of improves the onboarding experience. But yeah, that about wraps the session stuff. On Oxen Core, we're basically getting ready for the mandatory service node upgrade, which if you have not upgraded your service node, the fork will be happening. Well, it's not really a fork, it's not a hard fork, but service nodes that haven't upgraded will be getting kicked off the network eventually, and that will be happening on the 14th. So if you haven't upgraded your service node to the latest version, make sure you do that, otherwise you'll get kicked off the network on the 14th. So the team's basically just preparing for that process, putting out new wallets, making sure the service node bot is notifying people, all of that good stuff. On LokiNet, we're still working towards some releases. I am actually currently, just before I was doing this labs update, testing out the Mac LokiNet GUI release. It's looking promising. We've had a few users running it well on some operating systems, and then we've run into a few things on Monterey specifically, so we're looking into that now. And we're also working on Windows, or Jeff is working on Windows with WinDivert, which is a different kind of compatibility layer for intercepting packets and rerouting to specific locations. So we're looking into that as well to long-term solve some of our Windows problems that we've been having. So yeah, I think that just about wraps it up for the Oxen Dev, or the Oxen Session LokiNet Dev stuff this week, and I'll chuck it over to marketing. Thanks, guys.
Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's marketing part of the lab update. This week was a little bit more of an in-between week. We're sort of like finishing up some older projects, starting up some new ones, but there's still a lot of interesting stuff going on. The biggest thing is that we're kind of rethinking how we communicate exactly what Oxen is. Obviously, when we did the rebrand last year, I think it was last year, things changed quite a lot. And at the moment, we're just trying to think about the best way to explain to new people who are coming in what exactly Oxen is, why they should care about it, that kind of stuff. So we've been having some of those discussions over the last week or so, and those are going to be ongoing as well. The call out from the OPTF for articles is going really well. We've got a lot of submissions, and Sam and I have been working through those to create a short list, and we got a way stronger response this time than we did the first time, which is really promising. It kind of shows that the OPTF is becoming more recognized and respected, and more people want to do some work with the OPTF than when we did the first call, which is really good. And I think we built up a little bit of reputation even with that first series of essays and articles that we commissioned. And we've developed good relationships with some of those writers, and one of the writers at least we're going to be working with again for this second round, which is really exciting. The other thing that has been going on, I released a blog about attack surface, so if you haven't checked that one out, we'll link it down in the description. I also recorded a video with Tom, which might already be out or might be coming out, but if it's out, we'll link that one as well. After the session tapes was released last week as well, There were a few sort of like little extra goodies that we wanted to make and drop. My main man Wes, who's standing behind the camera right now, made an awesome behind the scenes video, and I highly recommend you check it out. If you watched the podcast itself and you enjoyed it, I think you're extra going to love the BTS video. And if you didn't watch the podcast, I still recommend you watch the BTS video. He did an awesome job of making some very unfunny guys look extremely funny. Wes and Cam have also been working away on the Instagram for Session. So if you're an Insta user, which I know a lot of you probably aren't, but if you are, make sure you go and give the Session Instagram a like and follow. It's in a bit of a soft launch phase at the moment, but things are going to be ramping up over the coming sort of weeks and months, with a really serious plan to try and get Session a good following and audience there on Instagram. And the last thing, last but not least, is LokiNet got a little bit of love. So the LokiNet Terms of Service has been something we've been working on for a little while now, and we've gotten that all finished up, which is really good news. And on the other side of things, we think that we have a bit of an opportunity to market LokiNet to a bit more of a niche technical audience, which I suppose makes a lot of sense given the way that LokiNet is. We've sort of been holding back a little bit with the lack of cross-platform functionality for LokiNet, but we think that we can hit that Linux market a little bit stronger. The first thing we need to do, though, is really strengthen the support and documentation around LokiNet and build that up a little bit more, so before we sort of take it to those people. So that's what we're working on at the moment. Chris P is working on a new help desk for LokiNet and trying to spin that up as quickly as he can. So that's pretty much everything from marketing this week, and whoever it is in the hot seat, we'll see you next week. See you, everybody.